In this video, I'm going to give you some essential tips for long motorcycle trips.
That rhymed.
Hey guys, Jogo here with Jogo Motorcycle Adventures. Just this past summer, I went on a long distance trip out to Georgia. It was about 2,200 miles. After taking this trip, I felt obligated to make a video about it, giving you guys some great tips that I learned along the way. Let's hop into it. For my first tip, make sure you do proper maintenance on your bike. This is going to include doing an oil change before you leave. You're also going to want to check your tire pressure and also inspect your tires to make sure you don't have any debris in them. You're also going to want to check your belt tension. And lastly, don't forget to bring a small toolkit, pack it into your saddlebag, and also grab some tire plugs. You never know when you're going to get a flat. For my next tip, I suggest going out and buying a seat cushion. This seat cushion isn't only going to provide comfort, but it's also going to allow airflow underneath you.
If you're a guy, the boys will appreciate you, if you know what I mean.
One thing that I did do while I was using this seat cushion is I would alternate it on and off. After every time I stopped, if I had it on, I took it off. For me personally, this kept me comfortable. The seat cushion that I use was made by a company called Butt Buffer. I'll leave a link down in the description. Moving on. Going on to my next tip, I suggest you buy yourself some highway pegs. If I didn't have highway pegs on this trip, I would have been absolutely miserable. These are nice so you can stretch out your legs, give your legs a couple different positions while you're riding so you don't get sore. This next tip is probably one of the most important ones that I learned along the way. You're going to want to shift your body weight every 15 to 20 minutes. This is going to prevent you from keeping pressure on one spot for too long. Keeping continuous pressure on one spot is going to end up making you sore. You don't want to get sore on a long trip because the ride is just going to be miserable. For my next tip, make sure your gear fits comfortably. Your boots, your gloves, your helmet, your jacket. You want to make sure all this gear fits right so that way it doesn't cause any discomfort on the way.
Side note,
make sure you dress for the weather as well. You never know when the weather's going to change. Make sure you bring some rain gear. I made that mistake and I really wish I would have brought it. Let's move on to the next tip. Take breaks. I suggest doing this every 100-150 miles or when you feel like you need a break. You do not want to push yourself while you're on the road. Once you push yourself past the limit, that's when all the bad things happen. You don't want to end up in an accident just because you're going too far. Before going on a longer trip, I suggest taking a shorter trip just to see where your limit is. Before I get into my next tip, if you're getting any value out of this video, it would really help me out if you gave this video a like and a subscribe. Moving on, you want to make sure you stay hydrated. This is very important. You don't want to get dehydrated while you're riding because this is going to lead to fatigue, dizziness, muscle cramps. You definitely don't want any of that while you're riding. Last thing you want to do is crash your bike because you fell asleep.
I'm going to die.
Speaking of sleep, make sure you get a good night's rest. Getting a good night's rest is just simply going to keep you more focused and alert. Another very important tip, make sure you plan out your route and create an alternate route. You never know when you're going to run into a road closing, so that's good to fall back on. Not to mention, you're also going to need food and gas, so you want to make sure you're planning that along your way. Next tip, make sure you pack lightly. You don't want to overload your bike with all your luggage. This is going to lead to a decrease in steering and braking. Also, it's going to cause excessive tire wear. Only pack what you absolutely need, the bare essentials. Moving on, make sure you check in with your family and friends. Call your mother. Make sure on your stops you're shooting a call or text to your friends and family just so they know that you're alright. This tip could essentially save your life. Make sure you're doing routine checks on your bike every time you stop. You want to check for damage, loose bolts, debris in your tires, your turn signals, and your headlight. As I said before, checking all these items could possibly save your life. So do it. While you're on this long trip, you're going to need your slow speed maneuvers. Check out this playlist right here. This is Jogo with Jogo Motorcycle Adventures, and until next time, ride out.